Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this very special edition of the Garage Workshop tool review. This week we're going to be looking at the SawStop Compact Table Saw. Roll the intro. So fellow woodworkers, last month I attended the Pro Builder Tool Live show in Bolton. I'll put a link to that video in the description. And when I was there, I had an opportunity to quiz Michael Davis, who is the head of operations for SawStop in the UK and Europe, about the SawStop table saw. And during the conversation, I said to him, you know, there's lots of things about SawStop that people aren't happy about. We talked a lot about the safety mechanism that's built into it. And he sent out one of these units for me to review on the 10-minute tool review. Now, I do have to say up front, I'm not being sponsored or paid or anything for this video. I've been sent this tool to evaluate. I'm going to tell you what I think of it, and I'm also going to talk to you about the elephant in the room, which is that significant price tag. But I've got the saw in the workshop. Let's have a look at its features and see if it's worth the money. So fellow woodworkers, as I said, this is the SawStop Compact Table Saw. It's one of two saws that SawStop have in their range, the other one being the contractor saw, which is on a sort of wheeled trolley. I have been sent the trolley for this saw, and I will put it on and see how easy it goes on when we actually come to test it. But I just wanted to go through the specs of this unit. This is the compact table saw. It's the one that has been designed for you to take on a job site or to keep in your workshop out of the way. It is their more mobile saw, and obviously it's significantly smaller in terms of weight than the other saw, and that's mainly due to sort of some of the differences in the materials that it's made for. So it takes a 254 mil or 10-inch blade. It's 362 millimeters high, or 14¼ inches, 597 millimeters wide, or 23½ inches, and 684 millimeters deep, or 27 inches deep. It has a rip capacity of 62 centimeters, or 24½ inch. The table, the main part of it, is made of coated aluminium, and it's got the rack and pinion fence system, which we'll come on to in a minute. The cutting capacity is 79½ or 3⅛ inch cutting depth, and the dust collection hose, which is round this side, is a 65 millimeter bore on the hose. Now, straight away, getting it out of the box, a couple of observations. Number one, it is really quite heavy, this saw. I think it says on the box it weighs something like, I think it said 30 kilos. I'll put on the screen the exact weight, but not something you would want to really be lugging around because it is heavy. Now, obviously, being heavy generally means that any tool that's heavier is better made, and we'll have a look at that in a minute when we look at some of the key features. But already, one of the things that I'm going to point out is just the blade. They send you a bog standard blade that comes with it, and to be honest, it isn't great quality at all. So I'll be changing that out probably for a Saxon blade. But the unit's here. Let's have a look at it and let's go through some of its features. So when you get your compact table saw and you open the box and you get it to this stage, there's a few other things that are included, and I have to give it to SawStop for the documentation that you get inside the box. Not only do you get this really useful essential tips before first use, which is actually really good, you get two fantastic printed manuals. I mean, they are substantial and they've got everything that you need to know about this saw. The books are really nicely laid out. Obviously, they're in a number of different languages, but they've got fantastic diagrams all the way through, really, really clear text. That's the the table saw's owner's manual. And this one is the safety and general use. So really, really good documentation. So I've got to give them their due for that, SawStop, because you don't get that in a lot of other saws. You get a sort of reducing hose adapter that goes in the 65mm hose socket so that you can attach it to a sort of normal, regular shop adapter. We will try that. You also get this. It's a second writhing knife. It's a smaller one, this one, than the one that's included. And the main tools and accessories are in this little box at the end, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's start by talking about the thing that I think is the best thing about this saw, which is the rack and pinion fence. So one of the key parts of this SawStop Compact Table Saw is the fence. And in preparation for this video, I looked at lots of videos on the internet of this saw in action, and I was very impressed with the fence. And when I went to the Tool Live show and I actually got to see this saw in action, I was super impressed with the build quality of the fence. So the fence is attached to it, obviously because it's compact, it's going to be shifting around. There's nothing that can move anywhere. You don't have to take anything off like you might do with, for example, my Evolution saw. If I took that to a site, I'd have to take the fence off, and then there's the possibility of losing it. Here, the fence is actually attached or sits on the side of the saw. So to release it, you just pull the two metal clips, which have got a little push-in button at the bottom. And then with those clips in, it just frees out. And on the top of the saw, on the rack and pinion arm, you've got three separate sort of mounting points for the fence, and the fence can go in either way. There's one to the left hand side of the blade, which sits about here, and there are two to the right hand side, and obviously those two dictate the cutting point of the saw. With the fence on the further one, you obviously have a bigger cut depth, and obviously when it's narrower, you have a shorter cut depth. Now, when I attach it to the narrower or the closer one to the blade, it's just a case of dropping the pegs into the holes and just securing it. Now, at the moment, I've got the fence, the pinion fence is free, so it's moving back and forward. But one of the things that SawStop have put in, I'll just raise the blade. I'll come on to that in a minute, that noise you just heard. I'll raise the blade. What comes on is these two, there's a set of sort of two wings at the bottom. And those two sort of wings stop you moving the table saw too close to the blade. So they stop here, and you're about a centimetre, about 10mm away. Now, if you want to do a closer cut, very easy to do. All you do is push in the two wings, and then the fence will go, if you do it properly, the fence will go all the way up to the blade, as you can see there. The other thing about the fence itself is it has a built-in lower level fence. It is quite stiff, but it reaches up over and drops down in front of the fence. So if you want a smaller fence or lower level cuts or anything like that, that fence is there. And again, like everything else on this saw, to store it, you just pop it back over and it clips into place. But of course, the key bit about this is it's a rack and pinion system. So there is a knob on this side which you use to twist the saw in or out. When you've got it locked into the position that you want, there's like a little red sleeve. You just press that and you press it in, and then the fence is completely locked. On top of that, if I just turn that and take it out again, you have got really, really micro adjustments, because obviously it's rack and pinion. It's not like my Evolution saw where you're sort of generally knocking the actual fence to get it in line or positioning the fence. This rack and pinion is really, really sophisticated. And you can literally go just very, very small turns by turning the handle, and then it's just a case of locking the handle in when you've got it to the place you want it to have. It's also quite gimmicky, but I do like it. It has a built-in place on the fence for the push stick. It's a special push stick, as in it's got a hole in it, and there is a knob on there that it fits into to keep it in place. And again, that goes back to the fact that it's a saw that's designed to go from side to side. The other thing about this rack and pinion system and the whole fence in general is, I'm just going to unlock it, is it feels really nice quality. All of the aluminium, everything they've put in it feels really nice. There's virtually no play in it at all. You can probably see there, it's moving the table, not moving the fence. So you've got the adaptability to literally be able to do millimeter by millimeter adjustments, but it feels incredibly sturdy, really nice quality. So let's move on to the blade, and in particular, the one issue that I have got with this system. Okay, so as I said, the saw does come with a zero clearance insert. Now, to release it, there is an Allen key, which is just on the tool set that's here. But basically all you do, and I'm just using a screwdriver, is you just push in there's a little sort of hole that releases the safety mechanism. And when you do that, it flips that up, and then you can pull the zero clearance plate out. I mean, the quality of this, it's not made of metal. I think in the other saw, it is made out of metal. But this one isn't, but it is extremely strong, very stiff plastic. It's molded plastic, but as you can see underneath, it's not solid, but it really is very well made. My issue is when I got the zero clearance plate and I put it in, part of the thing about these SawStops is you are supposed to literally be able to open them, get them out the box, and start using them. Now my blade, the blade that's in here, I haven't adjusted it at all. It is saying, or it's showing that it is at 0 on the scale in terms of blade rotation. So when I put the zero clearance insert plate on, as you can see here, it catches on the edge of the blade. Now it's locked in place. I put the clip down, and there are individual sort of Allen key adjustments that you can make here, but they are more to level the clearance plate with the actual bed of the table saw. Now when I move this down or up, you can hear, oh, might have cured it. When I put it on, it was catching. When I put it there, you just heard it there. It's catching on the zero clearance plate. And off camera, I've tried lots of different things to see if I can get that sort of better settled so it isn't catching, and I haven't managed to do that. And obviously when the blade turns at the moment, you can hear that the blade is catching on the zero clearance plate, and it's almost like it needs to be moved to the side, but obviously you can't do that because it's right up against the side. I'm going to have a look at the manual about whether there's something to do with the blade, because it could be that the blade's not right. So I got out my trusty square, put it up to the blade, and it is absolutely perfectly at right angles to the clearance plate on both sides. There's no gap at all in it. It's exactly where it should be. So the blade, I'm confident, is exactly straight. The zero clearance plate, I think, is the width that's got the issue. Now, obviously, after a few cuts, it's going to make a little notch in that zero clearance plate, and it shouldn't be an issue. But the blade on the other side, on the sort of left-hand side of the blade, has got a lot more space than it has on the right. And I don't know if there's some sort of mechanism where you can move the entire blade across. And obviously you have to be careful with these saws because it's got that safety system in it, which we're going to have a look at next. But that's the one thing at the moment which is just a slight issue. But let's have a look at that safety saw system. Okay, so with that zero clearance plate off, you can now see inside the saw to see the safety cartridge. It's really, really easy to replace it. All you do is literally pull up this red lever that's in there and take off the riving knife, and then the whole unit and the blade can all come out together. Obviously, you've got to undo the blade if it's embedded in the safety saw. The other thing is there's not a lot of extra room in there. When you look at it, there's a lot of sort of areas that are all sort of shrouded off, or my Evolution saw, for example, and I know I'm comparing it a lot to that, but that's the best comparison I've got. Although it's got like a hood on the inside, there's lots of sort of gaps for dust to form and things like that. There isn't inside the SawStop, and it does look really, really well made, except for the blade, which I talked about. So the first thing I would like to do is give it a test with this blade, and then we'll pop it out and put a different blade in. I'm going to use a Saxon blade because I like Saxon blades, and we'll see if there is a difference. But let's move on to the adjustment of the blade feature. So as well as having a fence that you can make micro adjustments to, the same is also in place for when you tilt the blade to a different angle. So it's a very traditional system where you've got a pull system, and all you do to free the blade is just pull the disc towards you, and it frees the blade to move. So when you pull it and hold it, you can move the blade to any angle that you want it to go to. And then when you've got it, the little cup that sits around it just pops back in, very similar to the handle on the rack and pinion system. And with that in place, obviously the blade is then locked. But interestingly, you also have the ability to make micro adjustments on the tilt. And to do that, you literally just twist the sort of sleeve. You have to have it in the sort of unlocked position, and you can then make individual, you can probably hear it clicking, you can then just make individual cuts. Each step is like a millimeter, and you can feel this sort of positive tension. It clicks. So if you want to get a specific angle that you can't get with one of the sort of bog standard ones, and you have got the opportunity to sort of micro adjust it, then you just push the sort of sleeve in, and again, it's locked exactly where it should be. Now, if I put this back to the zero position, I'm just going to check that the blade has gone back to being square. Yep, perfect on that side. Yep, perfect on that side. So the blade has gone back to being exactly as is. Let's just see if I've cured that clicking of the zero clearance plate. And like I said, the first few times it's not going to matter because it will clear it itself. It's still catching slightly on the front here. Nothing major to worry about. So the other thing is the toolkit that comes with this. So let's have a look at that now. So in this toolkit that you get with the saw, there's quite a lot of interesting things in it actually. And if you push this clip back, it lets you take out the riving knife. There's actually a riving knife on the blade. There's this one, and obviously there is a spare one that comes with it. So there's actually 3 different riving knives. This riving knife that is in there goes with this system, which I haven't got out yet. So fingers crossed. Oh, perfect. It comes out. And this is, this attaches to the riving knife. This is the cover, the blade cover, but I just love the design of it. It's like almost like a sort of caterpillar or an insect's body in how it runs. So the wood goes in that way, and obviously it automatically adjusts depending on the size of the wood, and it goes up and down. It's a really clever design. I've never seen this in any other saws. If you have, let me know in the comments. So that is a really, really good piece of kit. And also in here, again, I'll try and free it, is the mitre gauge. Now this one, I haven't actually put this in yet. Let's see how it goes. really bog standard, the same sort of setup as any. It doesn't look any better manufactured than any of the other ones, but it's no worse. So let's put it on, and yeah, there's a little bit of movement there, but to be honest, sort of not a lot more than you would get with other table saws. So that's there as well to use, and that comes inside it. And obviously you have the writhing knives as well. So a nice little set of sort of extras. And I do like the fact that this is attached to and is part of the saw, and it wasn't sort of an afterthought really. So let's go on to the key bit now, which is the safety system and the bypass mode. Now, I'm very much with Peter Millard on power cables. This power cable is not very long at all. I'm not sure how long it's meant to be, but for me, this is probably not much longer than maybe a metre, metre and a half. And I think for a tool that you are potentially going to take on a job site or move into different places, it could have had a longer power lead. I know it's only a small thing, but you do have to think potentially you could be quite a long way from a power source and need to plug it in. So a longer lead would have been much handier. Okay, so let's power this up. I have to say, it's the first time that I have actually put the machine on. I've just plugged it in. I'm going to come on to the plugging in a second. So here, and this is an interesting feature, there is actually a lock for the power button. I'll just demonstrate with a screwdriver, but you can actually get a padlock in there. So if you've got the saw somewhere where you don't want children to potentially have access to it, or if it's on a job site and you want to lock it off, you can actually slide in a padlock there, and it stops the on-off button from being pressed, which I think is one of the many, many little features that are on this saw, which sets it apart from everything else. So when you start it up, you press the on-off button, and then the saw goes through a sort of self-checking system. It'll run through a little routine, and it will energize the brake system. It says it should only take 15 to 20 seconds for this to happen. So let's switch it on, and then when it's ready, the light will turn a solid green. That's good. So we've got the energizing self-checking. There we are. So we've got a solid green light now. I'm just going to put my ear defenders on, and we'll actually start the saw. Now this big red, ginormous red button that you can see here, that starts and stops it. So let's try it now and hear how loud it is. So that fast blinking green light that you saw there was what they referred to as the coasting down, and that's basically just the safety system that activates the brake is just sort of basically turning itself off. So that is the simple operation of on or off. Let's have a quick chat about bypass. Okay, so I'm going to follow the instructions for bypass mode, and I'm going to do it exactly how it tells you to in the instructions. They are really detailed and very clear, the instructions, really good illustrations and really clear text. So I'm just going to put my ear defenders on. It says turn on the power switch A and wait for the solid green light to display alone. So let's do that. So there we've got the system energizing. Okay, now it says to press this or turn this bypass switch clockwise all the way to the stop and hold it in that position. The red status light should flash once. It says do not release it. With it all the way over there, whilst holding it, pull out the start and stop paddle. It says the status light will flash once and the blade will spin up. So let's try that. So as you can see, the system is now energizing. So when that light is flashing green, it means the saw is in bypass mode. And if you don't know what bypass mode is the way that you sort of circumvent the safety system that's in there. With the saw in bypass mode, the safety blade system is not engaged, meaning you can cut anything, but it also means that you don't have the protection that you would have if the safety system was in. So if you were cutting a piece of wood or there was an accident, the blade wouldn't stop when your finger touched it, which obviously it would in safety mode. Okay, so this is the stand that the saw came with, and it has this sort of one-touch system where you put these clamps into this position, and you should, in theory, just be able to drop the saw on and then turn them off. It says it's easy, it looks easy in the videos. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, so after a bit of a finagle, I got it in. I actually had it on the wrong way round. So it's on the system now. It's on the trolley now. I think it's time to fire it up and give it a little test. Okay, so the saw is set up and ready to go. I've got some plywood and some MDF that I'm going to run through first, and then I'll put the bypass mode on and I'll try a piece of wood that I know is soaked in water. So let's get going, see how it is. Okay, well, the first thing to say straight out the bat is how incredible that cut was. It's absolutely perfect, and I mean perfect. It's way, way, way superior to my Evolution. Even with that blade on it, it's just incredible. The cut from the material, hopefully you can see that. So clean, so precise, and so dead straight. I'm really, really impressed with the quality of the cut. What I'd like to do now is just change the blade and put on a thinner blade and see what that's like. So, fellow woodworkers, that is the end of this tool review, and I just wanted to leave you with my final thoughts on the SawStop. So, in the positives category, the saw is incredibly well made. There's no denying that. It is the highest quality table saw that I've ever used or had the experience of using or seeing. The build quality is fantastic. The component parts are really good. There's nothing cheap on this saw at all, and they are really positives. Obviously, the key thing about this saw is the safety mechanism that will stop you losing a finger potentially. And one of the things about this mechanism, which isn't very well known, is if you were unfortunate enough to have the saw and you did have an accident where the blade hit your finger and it instantly stopped, if you send that cartridge off to SawStop, they can analyze the data on it, and if they can confirm it was a finger that triggered the emergency system, they will send you a replacement cartridge. So that is a real positive. It's a very, very safe saw to use, and with the bypass mode, obviously you've got the ability to turn that off. All really positive things. On the downside, £79 for a replacement safety cartridge is a lot of money, and as you'll hear in the interview with Michael Davis, that issue around that £79 is one that is constantly challenged, thrown at SawStop, and they are challenged on because it is a lot of money. On top of that, you've got the retail price of this saw, which is, you know, £899 is a huge amount of money. And it does, whether SawStop agree or not, it does price out a lot of the hobbyists and the home DIYs. Whereas if you're in the States and if you're an American viewer, please let me know in the comments. I know SawStop is a much more common brand in the US, and I think it's a similar sort of price point from the research that I've done. So obviously the cost is prohibitive for a lot of people. That being said, it is the old adage, you do get what you pay for. And I think if you are in a position where you can afford to spend the money on this table saw, then I would recommend it, because I think this is going to last a long, long time from the way it's manufactured. So that's the end of the 10-minute tool review, which has been longer than 10 minutes. Thank you so much. If it's your first time at the channel, please can I ask you to subscribe, like, comment, hit the notification bell. Really helps the algorithm, and then you'll find out when I'm posting new content. If you are a regular subscriber, please let me know what you think about this video in the comments. As I said, it was a very open and honest review. If I'd have found things I didn't like, I would have told you. I'm not happy about the price. I've mentioned that, but let me know what you think about this review. Also, don't forget to like and comment. I'll catch you on the next edition of the Garage Workshop. Take care, fellow woodworkers.